Well, in the summer of 2025, after hearing so many voices across our Lutheran Church Missouri Synod express concern, frustration, helplessness about where we're headed, I wanted to dive deeper and say, what's really going on? Is there a path forward for us? And if so, how do we do a better job of walking together and walking stronger into the future? So I launched a survey called the State of the LCMS. 1,054 Lutheran leaders responded. And now it's time to share some of those results. So welcome to Voices of the LCMS, a new series by Red Letter Living where every Thursday I'll release a 5-ish minute video highlighting one data point from the survey and then raising the questions that come out of that data. Because great data brings great questions, and data by itself is interesting. But as my friend Matt Engel from Glue reminded me, if data is only interesting and not actionable, it's a waste of time. And so my goal is to turn interesting into actionable. These videos aren't about politics or pointing fingers. I'm not here to rail against leadership. And so if you've come expecting that, you're at the wrong channel, man. I am here because Jesus Christ has been so good in my story, in our church body, our history, that we cannot settle any longer for a frustrated, broken down, confusing witness of his church. I care deeply about the LCMS, and I believe God still wants to use the LCMS to make greater disciples. But what the data is showing is, like it or not, this is a pivotal moment right now. And something's got to change if we want to walk together stronger and actually have influence in our future. And so that's why I'm asking you, if you're listening to these videos, Voices of the LCMS, to not just listen passively in one ear, not the other, but consider what part can I play in addressing these challenges, even if it's just one of them. So let's get to it. Today, I want to tell you about the number one challenge that rose above the rest from the data: reaching and retaining youth and young adults. Now, I'm encouraged this was chosen because it shows our leaders care about the next generation. Without them, we have no future. And I've heard that having more babies will help us grow. I get that that's a strategy that works on paper, but without strategies to retain and disciple our youth and young adults, it'll fall woefully short. Here's the second reason why I'm grateful this was picked: because there's a surprising opportunity right now. In the US and in the world, faith trends that have been in steady decline for decades are beginning to not only stabilize, but even tick upward. And the group driving this shift is Gen Z, especially Gen Z men. Barna research shows that commitment to Jesus among Gen Z men from 2019 to 2025 climbed from 52% to 67%. That's awesome. Weekly church attendance among young men has increased, closing the gap with young women for the first time in modern history. And at the same time, Bible sales have surged 22% in 2024, driven largely by younger readers. This tells us something important. Gen Z men and women, they're not closed off to faith. They are curious, they are searching, they are spiritually hungry, and they're drawn to movements we're seeing that feel real. Either charismatic churches that are alive with experience or historic traditions that have deep roots. And isn't the LCMS the best of both of those? Getting that experience and encounter, especially through our word and sacrament ministry, but also having the deep historical roots. But the question is, are we positioned to meet this generation with intentionality? Or are we behind the 8 ball? Are we acting reactively, not proactive? Are we missing this moment? Psalm 78 verse 4 says, "We will not hide them," the them being the words of God. "We won't hide them from their children, but tell them to the coming generation the glorious deeds of the Lord." This is our time to share and to pass on our faith. And we have a generation right now that is hungry, and a church body that's saying, this is the biggest challenge. So what do we do? Just a couple of months ago, we had our national youth gathering, and both of my sons have experienced spiritual highlights at the past 2 youth gatherings. And in 2022, I had the privilege of co-hosting from the stage at Minute Maid Park in Houston. I not only got a unique view from the stage, but behind the scenes as well. I saw volunteers pouring out their hearts to make this thing happen. These are mountaintop moments for our youth, and the volunteers were doing everything possible. But I noticed there's a challenge. The staff team on the Synod level is too small. it's undersupported, and it feels hampered by a lot of red tape. Even the mass events, which are streamed live each night, that's great, but they fade into obscurity once the gathering ends. Imagine if we kept sharing that content week after week and reaching young people where they already spend their time on social media. We could multiply the impact instead of letting it kind of just disappear. Meanwhile, our universities have been cut in half in the past decade, and I'm struggling to see a lot of innovation for youth and young adults at the national or regional level. Could we revive a gathering-style event for college students and young adults? I searched on LCMSU's website. I know we've had something like that in the past, and I couldn't find any details on it in the future. Did we let that go? Is this really the time to let something like that go? Now, I'm not suggesting that big events, especially ones that happen every 3 years, are the only answer. Far from it. Local churches and leaders, it starts with us. Can you take meaningful steps right now in your context? Could you mentor one college student? Could you launch a Bible study on a nearby campus? Could you invest more of your congregation's budget in reaching Gen Z and Gen Alpha? What would that look like for you? And so here's my question. What will you do to help reach and retain young people in your church? And what could our synod do better? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your ideas. I'd love to have further conversation with experts at the local, regional, or national level, because reaching and retaining youth and young adults isn't just the top challenge. It's also kind of crazy, happens to be our greatest opportunity right now. And so let's not miss it. Hey, since I'm producing these videos on my own time and dime, and happy to do it, but if you find this helpful, please subscribe, share, and spread the word. And let me know, what guests do you want me to talk to on my podcast? Your support means a lot. Blessings to you, and I'll see you next week for the second episode of Voices of the LCMS.